What difference will 1 hour make? You got to be kidding me. Banning the sale of alcohol in bars during the 7th inning of a clinch game? I guess you could order a round of buffalo wings and some celery sticks as you await the 3rd out in the bottom of the 9th. But will 1 hour of prohibition curtail chaos? Solution: order 4 beers and 2 tequila shots during the 6th inning. Zambrano and Wood will keep the game short. Wrigleyville Alderman Thomas Tunney calls me from the north side as we discuss clinching Cubs and clutching cold ones on Garrard McClendon Live. Welcome to Garrard McClendon Live. Hey, the Cubs are on their way, and the city is about to go into celebration mode. But not so fast. Bars around Wrigley will have a 7th inning beer martini moratorium. That's right. You can't order a drink for 2.5 innings if you're within ear or eye shot of the friendly confines. Earlier, I talked with the alderman of the Wrigley ward, Thomas Tunney. On the line right now, we have the alderman, Tom Tunney, from the 44th Ward, Wrigleyville. Alderman, thanks for joining us on Garrard McClendon Live.
Thanks for having me this afternoon.
You know, you talk about controversy, cutting off beer sales, 7th through 9th innings in bars. Does this make sense, Alderman?
Well, on first blush, it doesn't seem like it makes sense, but it's a more complicated regulation or proposed regulation that the city is considering for the clinch game of the playoffs, which would be either games 3, 4, or 5 in the playoff series. So it's not meant to be every playoff game. It's not meant to be games that are away. So there's more to the regulation. There's more input that we need from the bar owners around Wrigley Field, our office, and the city's position on why they consider this might be in the best interest of public safety, especially with the crowds that are currently at Wrigley Field and even the intense crowds that will ensue with each playoff victory.
Now, Alderman, because this is an ordinance that could be, you know...
It's not an ordinance.
Not an ordinance, but because this is a, let's call it a rule for now, a clinch game rule on alcohol, do you really believe that this can prevent, you know, havoc, that this can prevent chaos and fights after the game?
I don't think it's meant to prevent chaos.
Okay.
I think there's a myriad of concerns that the city has in order to keep basic order in the community.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's obviously some first-time historic possibilities for the postseason in Chicago, whether it be the Sox or the Cubs, and maybe there might be a chance of both of them in the city. So these are very unique opportunities. We know on the north side that we haven't had a World Series on the north side for basically 100 years.
Yes.
So these are special circumstances. I'm not sure exactly what the final regulations are going to be, but it requires support for within the business community to make this thing work. So I believe there's a lot more work to be done on the proposed regulation.
You know, Alderman, I am a huge Cub fan. You know, I live closer to the south side, but I'm a huge Cub fan. My question, though, is this. I think there's going to be more backlash, Alderman. I think people are going to be very upset not being able to drink an extra beer, you know, or some sort of other alcoholic beverage between the 7th and 9th innings. And my question...
Well, you know that happens in the stadium itself right now.
Absolutely,
right.
But
that doesn't curtail consumption.
There we go, because what's to prevent someone from saying, okay, hey, it's the middle of the 5th or it's the middle of the 6th inning in my local Wrigleyville bar? What's to prevent a person from saying, hey, can I get 2 or 3 drinks right now?
Well, that again gets to the management of the individual establishment and the server training, which I believe the vast majority of my licenses in my ward know how to handle success, know how to handle crowds. So we're going to listen to this, to the businesses. We have a meeting next week with the city, our office, and the license holders there. Nobody wants to screw up the success of the postseason. No individual licensee wants to be, the bad guy in this situation. And God forbid we have some unfortunate incident. I hope we don't. But our job as elected officials in government is to make sure that there's relative excitement, controlled excitement in our ward that doesn't lead into a public disaster. And I think that there are unique circumstances. I also think we have an Olympic bid where Chicago is a lead city. We have the potential election of a Chicago native not native, but a Chicago resident as president. So all eyes are in Chicago now in the next couple of months. So there's give and take on both sides, and there's major issues that the city has to deal with, that the bar owners need to be educated on, and the bar owners need to be heard in terms of how to implement a policy that seems excessive.
Alderman, who benefits most from this ordinance? I mean, is it the constituents? Is it the Wrigleyville residents? Because I'm telling you, if I'm a bar owner in Wrigleyville, I'd be very upset.
Well, first of all, it's not an ordinance. I want to tell you that, okay? It's a policy, okay, enacted by the mayor, who is the liquor commissioner for the city of Chicago. Okay. And it is the Office of Emergency Management Control is a combination of police, fire, and public safety experts advising the mayor to do what he needs to do to make the city as safe as it possibly can. Yeah. So in the end game, it's about public safety, and the huge amount of crowds that will be in a very restricted area. Everyone wants to be near the park. Everyone wants to be in one of the establishments by the park. As a licensee, I've been a liquor license holder myself. I've owned bar, restaurant facilities, so I understand both sides of it, and we're trying to come up with, I think, with some reasonableness as we move forward to the implementation as the clinch game for whatever level of playoff and World Series. Yes, sir. Because I think as we get further into the season, we have to continue to be working and listening. That's right. To everybody. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I'm going to have to wrap you there, Alderman. Thanks, Alderman. We appreciate you being on Garrard McClendon Live. Man, that was my interview with Thomas Tunney, the alderman of Wrigleyville. Hey, will you launch a 7th inning preemptive strike, ordering several drinks to carry you through the 9th inning? Will you boycott bars around Wrigley on clinch night? Call me, 630-575-TALK. Garrard McClendon Live continues with activist Charlotte Neufeld. Drop the remote. We'll be back in 2.
It's kind of stupid, because if they can drink after the game, they'll just stay and get drunk after the game.
Welcome back to Garrard McClendon Live. Cubs clinch and the bars have to cease and desist on alcohol sales for the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings of a clinch game. Is this a good idea? Former chair of the Citizens United for Baseball and Sunshine and former Lakeview council member on the Citizens Liquor License Committee, Charlotte Neufeld, joins the conversation on Garrard McClendon Live. Charlotte, where do you stand on this 7th inning clinch alcohol rule?
I think it's an idea that's long overdue. It's not new. It's been a functioning idea when there's been big events like the Gay Pride Parade. It's time to start limiting the same way we do at Wrigley Field. If the idea of cutting off liquor sales in the 7th inning has been around in Chicago baseball for a long, long time. If it was needed for the fans inside the ballpark, it's needed for the fans who are taking advantage of the entertainment district.
Okay, now, Charlotte, we call Wrigleyville the friendly confines. It's an entertainment district. Now, should there be a certain amount of feet, a certain number of feet that this ordinance or this rule should take place? I ask this question because if I was the type of person who hang out in the bar, watch the game, and they cut me off in the 7th inning, Charlotte, I would be so upset. I'm like, I'm not at the game. I'm in the bar minding my own business. Yes, I'm across the street from Wrigley Field, but I should be able to enjoy my drink in peace.
Well, again, we have rules and regulation because 30 years ago, the Supreme Court of the state of Illinois recognized and supported the rights of the city of Chicago to maintain the quality of life of a community as being as important as the profit motive of the businesses within that community, particularly the big ones. So this cutting off at the seventh inning doesn't make a huge dent in that profit. It doesn't prevent people who own these liquor establishments from making a profit. What it does, and it has been proven, by the way, this goes on in many places all over this country, that it is a way to put a lid on activity coming out of
Yes.
now, again, I go back to, why has this rule been put in force for all of these years at the ballpark? It's at least 30 years that at Wrigley Field in the seventh inning, liquor sales end.
Right.
And there was reason to do that. If there was reason to do that because of what actions seem to happen when people are still drinking, walk outside, want to get in their car.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Charlotte. Let me ask you this, though. What if, could this possibly create some sort of alcohol black market in the streets of Wrigleyville? Let me give you an example. What if someone is creative enough, and maybe I'm being irresponsible throwing this idea out there, but what if someone says, you know what, between the 7th and 9th innings, I'm going to sell beer out of my car on Clark? On Waveland Avenue, on Sheffield.
That's what we have, the neighborhood protection, the task force of police, the 23rd and the 19th district, and all the rules and regulations on neighborhood protections agreed to by the Chicago Cubs, the community, and the city of Chicago and its elected officials. That's not legal anywhere.
Yeah.
So we're not going to do that. What we are going to do is say, cool it. And if you talk about the friendly confines, let's remember, it's a long game. We're there principally, I hope, to watch baseball. But you have a situation where this ballpark is surrounded by a community. It has always been. It's, by the way, lots of people like to come because there is such a variety of things that you do, feel, smell, touch, whatever, when you go to the park.
That's right.
The park, it's so expensive now that we have had the phenomenon of lots of people never even wanting to go to the games.
That's right.
And that they're not only going to the places that sell alcohol, and I'm being specific. I'm not calling them bars because, by the way, all of your big establishments down Clark Street have only incidental liquor licenses, which says liquor must be served with food.
Yeah.
Ha, ha, ha.
That's right. Hold it right there, Charlotte. No 7th inning drinks in Wrigley bars on clinch night. Your calls make the show.
Any business, they made enough money all year. I'm sorry. We're just talking about common sense. That's all this is, because I'll tell you one thing. If that community sees something they don't like, they will not have a bar. They will not have a liquor license. They will vote it completely dry.
Oh, Mayor Daley is threatening people. 630-575-TALK. When was the last time you called a TV show? Think about it. GML is your opportunity to scream freedom of speech. Will a 3-inning drink moratorium make a difference? What do you say, Chicago? We're going to go to the phones in a minute. I want to just put this out there for the record. Cub fans do care about baseball games. I'm a Cub fan. I'm a Tribune fan. I'm a Red Eye CLTV fan. And I'm tired of people saying you only go to Wrigley Field to drink beer and try to pick up men and women. It's not true. The Cubs are on their way. I'm going to the phones, and I am against this liquor ban, 7th, 8th, 9th inning. Deborah, talk to me. You're on Garrard McClendon Live.
Hi, I was calling. I work for the city, and I think they should stop serving liquor at the end of 7 because it is dangerous for the community. They come out of there, they're wasted, and they're driving under the influence of alcohol, and it's not safe for the community. So they need to put a cap on it at some point.
But Deborah, I mean, when the last out in the 9th inning is done, you can order drinks again. So are 3 innings really going to make that big of a difference?
Yes, 3 drinks. If they're less full, they're wasted when they come out of there.
Oh.
And I work for the city. Mm-hmm. They are wasted.
Yeah.
They're not paying attention to the people out there. They're not paying attention to the stop signs, the stoplights. They're not paying to TMAs out there, and they should cut it off.
Deborah, Deborah, thanks for the phone call. I really appreciate that. Hey, Deborah lights things up by saying that there should be a rule on this Sunday. I'm going to Sunday. Thank you for calling Garrard McClendon Live. What's your comment, Sunday?
How you doing?
Excellent.
Okay, I'm for it for the simple fact I work for the ballpark and I work for the Bears too. Which I work for the White Sox. We're gonna win. And by you being a server, you got to know when people is intoxicated. And by you just saying another 2 or 3 drinks, do you know the alcohol limit is 0.7, right? 2 drinks is 0.10. So do you know? But at the end of the day, you got to think about the innocent people who's going home. And the video they show to you when you at work, letting you know the consequences of people drinking and getting impaired and hitting people.
Wow.
And, so I'm going to believe it should be turned off at that time.
Sunday has spoken. Thank you for your phone call. Right now, it looks like it's 2 against and 0 for. I'm going to James. Talk to me, James. Garrard McClendon Live. Beer rule. What do you think? James, what do you think?
Gerard,
yes.
I've been a big fan of yours from day one.
Appreciate
big
it.
ups to your show.
Thank you.
I just want to say that Daly is obviously a Sox fan, and he definitely is jealous of the revenue generated by the Cubs area.
You think Daly is jealous?
I think Daly is definitely jealous because there is nowhere in the Sox area that no one even wants to party.
Oh.
Everybody gets in their car and goes home right away because there's not an area like the Cubs Park.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of jealousy. And
Yeah.
you know what I would do in the 6th inning? I'd buy you 4 beers, I'd buy me 4 beers, and we would party, and we would just wait until the end of that 9th inning, and I'd buy you 4 more beers, buddy.
Oh, man, James, party like it's 1999, James. But you know what? It's 2008. The Cubs will win the playoffs. The Cubs will win the World Series. Boy, I hope I don't have to eat my words. But hold on tight. The CLTV website is the place to stay informed. You can look at the news of the day, check out our other shows, and participate in the blog community. Welcome back to Garrard McClendon Live. We're going to get right back to the phones. I'm going to Eric. Thank you for calling Garrard McClendon Live. Eric, talk to me.
Yeah, I think it's a stupid proposal. I mean, there's no way that they're going to be able to stop people from drinking. What's going to happen is people are just going to start drinking earlier. They're going to get 6 or 7 shots lined up right in the 6th inning.
Yeah.
And then they're going to have, get as wasted as they can so that for the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning, they're already blasted. So what are they really trying to stop? We already had a cell phone ban that nobody enforces while they're driving. The frog lot ban they had to, bring back, and rescind that. I mean, this is really the unfriendly confines in Chicago. It's horrible. Man. And that lady, Charlotte Newfeld, she sounds like she's Frances Willard from the Women's Christian Temperance Union up in Evanston.
Man, Eric, thanks for the call, man. You know what? Eric just tied it up. It was 2-0, 2-1. Now it's 2-2. I'm going back to the phones. Patrick, talk to me. You're on Garrard McClendon Live.
Hey, Gerard, thanks for having me on the show, man.
Thank you for calling.
Hey, I appreciate the opportunity to get out here and voice our opinion here. First of all, I owe the meeting of my beautiful fiance to Wrigley serving beer and essentially never cutting it off. So thanks to them for that. But, moving on is that, I think when you take a look at why this 7th inning stop was implemented, it was because down on the south side, a couple of unruly fans popped over the retaining wall and beat up a first base coach.
There we go. Yeah.
I don't think that has anything to do with, the status of the neighborhood around that. And then, and beyond that, just let's take a look at all the people up there in Wrigleyville. Hey, if you don't like it, your property value is where it's at because of that ballpark, because of that atmosphere.
Wow, Patrick.
You don't like it? Later.
There we go. Patrick, thanks for the phone call. One more quick one. George, you're on Garrard McClendon Live. Make it quick.
Yes, I wanted to say that I believe alcohol should be prohibited just like in the Prohibition days. No speakeasy. They don't have anything out there selling alcohol, but people are irresponsible. Even when people got their license suspended, end up getting right back in their car. And the police is overwhelmed with all these people intoxicated. And I'm glad that the baseball team was drinking and tried to play baseball. They could not perform.
Man, thank you for the phone call, George. We appreciate it. Hey, thanks to Charlotte Neufeld and our callers. Whether it's the 7th inning or the post game, always drink responsibly. The Cubs are amazing this season, but we must celebrate them with dignity and safety. If you can't go 3 innings without a brew, you're suffering from post-traumatic beer disorder. The bars refuse to talk with us today, and my take is that they hate this rule. But political correctness is the lager of the day when a pale ale just won't do. That's Garrard McClendon Live. Keep your head up and always be encouraged.
Ask or ask, Donda's rules, suit shoes. McClendonReport.com.